Hey guys, I'm so excited to be back to tell you a little bit more about kind of what I introduced you to last night. Thanks for being patient with my video that I made in the middle of the night, but I just felt like it was really important to share with you guys how I've been feeling, because I know I'm not the only one that feels that way, and there are other women that feel overwhelmed sometimes, and that's perfectly normal. But we want to talk about some ways to solve that and some solutions and some little tools you can use to make your life more enjoyable so that you can have fun with your Lularoe business and also be great at all the other things in your life. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in, you guys. I'm gonna talk about a little bit about the two things that I told you last night you need: your Lularoe planner and this notebook that I got from Walmart. You don't obviously have to have the same one. It's just like a half size 2-subject notebook. It's just a great size for me. I love this one. So, and I'm gonna take off the sticker at some point. But anyways, I made some notes, so I'm gonna look down just a little bit so I can make sure I don't miss anything. So first thing we're gonna talk about, like I said, this is time management. Kind of life management, to be honest. It's not really just your time, it's really how you're managing running a business and living your life. Now, I'm a mom of 3 little kids, I'm married, so obviously my list of things are gonna be a little different from yours. That does not mean that this does not work for anybody. Literally, this works for whether you are single, married, work another job. No matter what you do, you can use these same tools and make them your own and make them work just as well for you. So first thing I did to get started, we're literally diving right in, you guys, is I took a page and I wrote struggles at the top, and I made 2 sections: family and work. So I'm gonna refer a lot to this as like life-work balance, life-Lularoe balance, either way. So basically when I say family, I'm talking life for me, because that's my life right now, and then work is Lularoe. So I wrote struggles. The reason I did this is I wanted to do 2 things basically. One, be more aware of the things that I feel like I'm kind of failing at, and I mean not necessarily failing, but struggling with, that aren't going as well as I want them to in my life. So I made a list, and I'll just tell you a couple of mine. I know you really don't want to hear, but just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So in my life/family column, some of the things I list are being present, putting my phone down, getting laundry done, getting other household chores done, not sticking to the days that I claim are family days, getting enough sleep, eating healthy, going to the gym. So those are some of the things that I listed that I'm struggling with right now when it comes to my life outside of Lularoe, which obviously is huge. So then at work, my Lularoe, what I'm struggling with Lularoe, some of the things that I wrote down were, I feel like I'm working all the time. Every spare moment I have, I'm jumping on the computer. I feel like I'm wasting time getting started every day. So like I'm leaving a task and then I'm trying to catch up to what I'm doing. And that goes with getting distracted and off task. I start doing something and then something else comes up and I work on that and I kind of don't finish what I started. And I feel like I get on phone calls, which I love talking to our team, but sometimes I get on calls and, obviously they become more like friend calls and we talk for hours and, I need to, focus on the task at hand. I also talk about not being organized and about having too many things to do and not enough time to do them. But I have to remember we all have the same amount of hours in a day. So I need to necessarily not work harder, I just need to work smarter. So that's really what this is all about. So here's what I've done, because I really want to work on these struggles. So you guys, this is basic stuff. Like, this is not rocket science. I'm not claiming that I came up with a new amazing theory or something. But this is basic stuff, and I know for me, it helps me sometimes to sit down and be like, somebody walk me through what I need to do to get organized. So that's what I'm kind of doing, is just really getting you organized. So first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take your Lularoe planner. If you don't have one yet, get one. If you can't wait to get one, then you can always run to the store and grab a planner. Make sure you get like a full calendar page. So I'm actually going to use my October just because my September is already really full, and so it's kind of hard to see the things I'm talking about. So first thing you are going to do is you need to set your hours. So this is a job, so you need to set work hours. I get that working from home is great, that you have flexibility, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But you also need to set work hours when you get things done outside of the times you set to do parties. So I'm gonna kind of show you how I do that. So we're gonna look at October. I think you guys can all see this. So for me, Mondays is my biggest work day. And we'll talk about what I do during my work days in a minute. But so Mondays, I have a nanny that comes to my house and watches my kids. For me, that's just what made sense. If that doesn't work for you, that's great too. You don't have to do that. But for me, that's what made sense. And I work 10 to 4. That's when my other daughter's at school, and she just started first grade. So this is a new thing for us. I've had all 3 kids home until now. But I work 10 to 4 on Mondays. On Tuesdays, I work 1 to 3. That's when my baby takes a nap, and my other child's in preschool. And then I also work and do a party that night. So I usually plan 6 to 11 for a party. Obviously, it's not that long, but I have to include loading my car, getting to my party, unloading, all that regular stuff, coming home, getting everything ready to go. So that's really about my time that I plan for that. So I schedule my parties in here as well. We're talking work time and time for parties. This is Lularoe time. So that's what I've got scheduled on Tuesday. So if you see on Mondays, don't mind my nails, they're awful right now. Mondays, I have, work 10 to 4. And then on Tuesdays, I have work right here, right at the top too, 1 to 3, and then 6 to 11. And then Wednesdays, see how it says family? That means that I am not allowed to do any work unless it's an emergency. And I'm serious. The only things that I do on non-work days is I post on my social media, and if I have an urgent phone call from someone, then I'll return it. Other than that, it waits till the next day. So Wednesday, family day, same thing. I do not do parties on that night. This is full family day. My kids know that this is when I say, hey, it's family day, they know that they get mom all day and I'm not leaving or going anywhere. So I do that, and then we'll go to Thursdays. Thursdays, again, I work 1 to 3. And then I do parties that night, and so 6 to 11 I'm scheduled as well. Friday and Saturday are family days. That being said, I do pick one Saturday a month where I book 2 parties on that Saturday. Now, if you can do more parties than that, that's amazing. There was a time when I literally did do 12 parties a week. That sounds crazy, but I did it. But right now, where I'm at in life, that just doesn't work for me. And so I've made Lularoe work for me. And so this is where I'm at, where I do a couple parties, I do some online stuff, and then I also work with my team. So that keeps me pretty busy. So again, you guys, you need to get a calendar and you have to write down your work hours. When someone wants to book a party, it's when you open up your calendar and say, hey, I have these, you give them the next 4 spots you have available open. Hey, I have Tuesday this date, I have Thursday this date. If they say, hey, I really can't do those, can we do something? Then occasionally I will make an exception, but I will swap those days. And I'll talk more about that. If I can't, if I'm not working on a work day and I work a different day, then if that was a family day, then that day that I was gonna work becomes a family day. So I make sure that I take that accountability so I stay balanced. So, okay, let's see. So talking about your calendar. Okay, next thing, this is the life/family side. So you're gonna take your notebook, you're gonna open it up to your first subject. Okay, what I have in here is what I call my weekly schedule. And it's basic stuff, you guys, but I'm not kidding you. No matter how many times you do it and you think you have it down, if you write it down and you literally look at it every morning, you accomplish those things. It's kind of crazy. So something that really has another, quote you could say that has really stuck in my mind is something, again, that Patrick's dad said. And he made a comment that it's not about, that what matters is what are you willing to sacrifice to be successful. And I really thought about that a lot with my family. And I don't want to sacrifice more time with my family, and I don't want to sacrifice, things that need to get done with my business. So how am I going to do this? Well, one thing I noticed is that I like to sleep in. Sorry, my watch fell off. I like to sleep in. And when I say sleep in, I'm 8 o'clock in the morning, but my daughter had to get to preschool, or now it's kindergarten, now it's first grade. But she has to get to school, and I was waiting to the last minute, and I was jumping up, we were getting ready, rush, and that was it. So what I realized is, as much of a morning person as I am not, that one thing I could do is I could get up earlier. And that is a sacrifice for me, but it's amazing the things I can get done if I get up a little bit earlier. And I'm talking about, I get up right now about 6:45, which to me is early. You guys are probably laughing, but to me that's early. when technically I probably wouldn't need to get up until about 7:15. So I did about a half an hour, I guess you'd say, earlier than I would need to get up. And I'll kind of tell you what I did. So let's go back to this weekly schedule. So I have my morning routine written on here. My morning routine, I'll talk about that as well. But then I also have scheduled everything in for my day. So Mondays, I have my morning routine, and then I have the gym, and then that's something else that I've missed that I haven't been doing because I've just felt like, it just slips to the end. Going to the gym, and then I have, again, when I work, I have my work time on here. Then my daughter, I have to take her to cheer, and then during cheer what I'm doing, I'm going grocery shopping, then dinner, night routine, and then at night what I'm doing. And I basically have done this for every day, and on my work days, I didn't write on here, and you'll see where I wrote it, what I was doing during my work time, but I do write that down somewhere else. So for example, on, like if you saw on Monday, I wrote work, and it's 10 to 4, and I didn't write what I was doing again on here. This is just my basic schedule of what's going on. Same thing, so on a family day, let me show you kind of what like a family day looks like. So a family day, same thing, morning routine, gym, dance for my daughter, lunch, girl time. I'm literally scheduling in time with my kids. I'm scheduling in cleaning, all kinds of that stuff so that I'm making sure that I go down my list. And guys, I'm not a list person, I never have been, but this is something that, this plan that I'm doing right now is something that I've done throughout my Lularoe journey at different times. Not quite to this extent, but it's something that every time I do it, things flow. Like I just feel so much better about life and so much more organized. And I usually stick with it for a while until something happens in my life and I kind of get off track. But I put some things in place to help me stay on track that I have not done before. So again, goes all the way through Sunday. I mean, it's as specific as listing Saturday chores, listing on Sunday, getting allowances out. I do my meal planning for the week because that's something else that I've struggled with is not making meals and wanting to be better with that. So I've really scheduled out the things that I saw I was struggling with into my week, so I'm making sure they happen. And then the other thing, I kind of talked about morning routine. When I talk about morning routine, I'm literally writing down what I'm doing in the morning, including what I'm doing before I'm waking my kids up, including throwing a load of laundry in, making sure my bed's made, how I'm getting ready, getting my kids up. And I'm seeing that if I'm up before them as much as I thought, when I've heard that people talk about this before, I was like, oh geez, that will never be me. I hate getting up in the morning. But if I'm getting these few extra things done, it's amazing how much less stress by doing these little baby steps. By getting that load of laundry already in, by making sure my kids are, they have a little extra time in the morning. They're waking up earlier than normal too, so they're unloading the dishwasher. They're doing these little chores that before I was doing it all because they were rushed and I was rushed and I was yelling at them all morning to hurry, hurry, hurry. And I'm finding that by doing this and sacrificing a little bit of sleep for me, that in the mornings, that a lot more is getting accomplished. And I'm starting off my day right, which is huge. Again, night routine, same thing. I really talk about, the nights I'm not home, what I do. It includes, going to bed at a decent hour. For me, that's 11:30, which might seem late to you, but I've been staying up till like 3 a.m. getting stuff done lately. So again, that's why I feel like I've kind of been a little bit of a mess, is I haven't been organized. So that's kind of what my family section looks like. Again, I have like a page, this is my meal plan where I was starting for this week. So these pages are something that you can use for these specific things when you get to something that you're working on, like planning meals or that, add a page, add to it, but carry this with you. This is something that I open to morning routine when I go to bed and set it on my nightstand. So when I wake up and my alarm goes off, first thing I do is I grab it and I look at it. Even though I know what I'm supposed to be doing, if I go through it, it's a constant reminder of making sure I'm getting things done. And it also is a reminder to me of how much more balanced I feel when I stick to it. It's a reminder like, hey, this is a good thing. Even though I don't want to wake up, it's a good thing. So let's get on to Lularoe, because I know a lot of you are probably like, hey, I'm doing Lularoe. Why are you telling me all this other stuff? But I really feel like they go hand in hand together. So let's talk Lularoe. Okay, so Lularoe, open up to your second section on your notebook. And and it says work schedule. Now, before you do work schedule, you need to open up a page in your notebook. I actually done this in my phone previously to getting my notebook. And I made a list of all the tasks that I need to complete every week. So basically, I'll kind of give you some examples. like schedule potential consultant calls, answer emails, messages, and voicemails, focus on sharing the business opportunity, contact all the leaders on my team, post in my online events, post in our Facebook group, create training videos, hostess prep, online party prep, it literally is a long list. One of the other things is a priority list, and I'll talk more about that. But these are all things that I made a list of before, and then I organized them. So then I went to, okay, what days did I decide to work? All right, I work Mondays all day, Tuesday afternoons, Thursday afternoons, and I also sometimes work Thursday nights a little bit later. And when I get back from a party, that is my one late night I do allow if I need to catch up. And so I went through and then I scheduled each of these things for Monday. So like, for example, my Monday looks like, probably can't see, but like Tuesdays, Team Tuesdays. That's what I'm gonna start doing now. And it really talks about, answering questions on our Facebook page, making some kind of training, touching base with recent recruits, talking to my directs. Really, it's a lot of things that I feel like, kind of fall through the cracks sometimes. And so by listing them, it helps me to stay on top of making sure I'm sticking to those tasks. Something else I mentioned was I have a priority list. So I also have scheduled in here on Mondays and then late Tuesday nights, it says priority list. And what my priority list is, it's a separate list that is constantly running, that basically when something comes up that I need to do, I write it on my list, and my list is like A, B, and C's. So if all my stuff that has A's on it is highest priority, B's are middle, C's are lowest. So basically when I'm going through my days, I have scheduled times when I work on my priority list, but then if I finish all my tasks early or I don't have the time to do, I'll go through my priority list. Sometimes that's random stuff like putting together a new intro letter to new recruits, or adjusting my fundraising materials. Things that sometimes those might be level 3s because it's not something that has to be done right this minute, but when I have time, I'd like to do it. And then I have more important stuff that's maybe like, hey, I need to contact this girl about a return, or this consultant wants me to send her this, this, and this, and this, and I didn't have a chance because I wasn't home when she texted me, type of thing. So that's all about staying organized. So a priority list is really important too. Make sure, again, that you use A, B, and C to prioritize what's important. And that, again, is continuously running. Let's see. So you guys, that's really like the most important part is go through your work schedule. Everything's listed. I kind of told you guys some of the tasks that I think are important that I'm working on each week. But you have to realize sometimes things happen. Life is crazy, things change. So when they change, schedule your changes. And I'll show you an example. I talked about this a little bit at the beginning. So basically, like, I usually work Tuesdays and Wednesdays a family day. Well, guess what? I have a field trip on Tuesday with my daughter's school. So I switched my work and family days. And I didn't just mentally do that. I wrote it down so that I would know Tuesday was a full family day and to focus on my family that whole day. And then Wednesday, I would work on all the stuff I would have worked on. So again, keep yourself scheduled and organized. It really does help. And then you don't feel like you fall behind. Because if you start skipping days and you fall behind, then you can't catch up, and it's just kind of a vicious cycle. So, okay, let's see. Okay, make it a habit, you guys. Something that I did and that I've done before that I think is really important. But I make it a habit of doing this every day. Like I said, keep your book with you. But also, like, set a goal. So for me, my goal this time was I'm going to stick to this perfectly for a month. Like, I'm not going to change my days. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to try to stick to it as best I can. And then at the end of the time, I'm going to look back on my struggles page and I'm going to look and see how those struggles I can compare. Because already I see a lot of those struggles are so much better. And so that's what I want you guys to be able to do is make a goal, stick to it for an X amount of days, X amount of time, and look back on your struggles and see how they're improving. If you're still struggling, which, everyone does to an extent, but you might need to tweak it a little bit. So don't be afraid to make a little bit of changes. But if you have a plan and you stick to it, you're going to feel so much more organized. You're not going to feel like you're working all the time or that you're not getting things accomplished. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings that girls, especially when they start Lularoe, have is that they just plan parties and that they don't think about working it like a business and scheduling hours outside of doing parties to do other things like their hostess prep, contacting the potential hostesses, doing their social media, getting the word out, all that kind of stuff is just as important as having an actual party. And so make sure that you make those tasks part of running your business and make that part of your job and your work time, work hours. But then also don't neglect your family or don't neglect your life. You have to have time for yourself. Schedule time for yourself. I have nights that I schedule where it says relax. And that's fantastic. And I love those nights. Those are great. And those, again, bring me back to feeling balanced. So I hope you guys, this was helpful. I know it was kind of long, basic, but sometimes basic is what we have to get back to. So anyways, hope you guys have a great day and I will talk to you later. See ya.